Full, total, complete backing. That's the message from US President Joe Biden on Sweden and Finland's bids to join NATO. The president met at the White House today with the leaders of the two Nordic countries. But Turkey could be a stumbling block. Its president says he'll veto the applications, accusing them of housing Kurdish terrorist organizations. But Mr. Biden said Sweden and Finland's memberships would make NATO even stronger.
Finland and Sweden make NATO stronger, not just because of their capacity, but they're strong, strong democracies. And a strong, united NATO is the foundation of America's security. By joining NATO, allies make a sacred commitment to one another, that an attack on one is an attack against all.
CNN's Arlette Saenz is at the White House for us. Good to see you, Arlette. So the US president welcomed the leaders of Sweden and Finland, saying that they'll be joining the world's most powerful defensive alliance. But the process won't be so smooth, given that not all members of NATO agree.
That's right, but President Biden today really trying to offer that full-throated endorsement of Sweden and Finland joining NATO, saying that their presence would bolster the alliance. Of course, those long neutral countries deciding to apply for NATO membership after Russia's aggression in Ukraine. But there is a wrench in the process, as Turkish President Erdogan has said that he is a no on Sweden and Finland joining NATO. There's concerns about their support, according to the Turks, of Kurdish forces, as well as sanctions that some of these countries have on Turkey. Now, in those remarks, standing here at the White House, Finnish President Niinisto really openly made an appeal to Turkey to accept them into NATO, saying that his country is willing to discuss the concerns that they have. Of course, it does require the approval of all 30 members of NATO for any country to join. The president, a short while ago, actually sending a letter to Congress here, urging them to approve the accession of Sweden and Finland to NATO. But right now, Turkey remains a very key hurdle in the application process for those two countries.
And Arlette, I want to ask you about what's happening next for the president, because as we speak, Joe Biden is on his way to South Korea in what will be his first visit to Asia since he was elected to office. What's on the agenda?
Yeah, President Biden making his first trip to Asia, trying to show that the region remains a central focus of his foreign policy. Officials had said he had hoped to get to the region much earlier in his presidency, but he was constrained due to COVID-19 as well as other crises, such as the war in Ukraine. Now, the president will first be traveling to Seoul, South Korea, where he will be meeting with the country's new president. He will then travel on to Tokyo, where he will meet with Japanese Prime Minister Kishida, as well as participate in meetings with the Quad leaders. That includes Japan, Australia, and India, as the president is really trying to reinvigorate that alliance since taking office. Now, there are concerns about North Korea at this moment. There appears to be signs that they may be preparing some underground nuclear or intercontinental ballistic missile tests, possibly while President Biden is in the region. But this trip is mostly about trying to bolster relations with South Korea and Japan and other countries in the region, especially as China continues to exert its economic and military influence in the region. And the president is really trying to pivot much of his foreign policy to focus on countering China, having that competitive relationship without engaging in outright conflict with the country. And so over the course of the next few days, he will be looking to strengthen relations with countries in the region as he visits both South Korea and Japan.
All right, we will be following that trip closely. Arlette Saenz for us outside the White House. Thanks so much. Well, former US President George W. Bush was contrasting his country with Russia, saying America's elections are a key difference. But in the process, he also made a telling gaffe. Bush was speaking at a forum at his presidential center in Dallas, Texas. He blasted Russia for what he called rigged elections, but then he made a clear flub that he quickly tried to correct, referring to the US invasion of Iraq, which he ordered as president in 2003.
The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway, 75.
Well, the former Russian colonel and TV commentator who publicly painted a grim picture of Russia's war in Ukraine is now tempering his comments. The colonel earlier this week said Ukraine's military is far from demoralized and Russia's situation is going to get worse. But now he seems to be reassessing Russia's war effort, and the big question is why. CNN's Claire Sebastian has a look.